FM tuli basanyufu okubeera nammwe olunaku olwaleero tubayozayoza byonna bye mutuusizaako engalo olunaku olwajjo twabadde wano n'abakyala wiiki eno yonna tuli mu kuyozayoza abakyala and this month mwezi to celebrating women, to celebrating their impact on society. Olunaku olwaleero nyinaawe nabadde ne bambuulira nti floods zayingidde mu kids again. Abantu abali e Kampala tuli wamu nammwe, tunyolwa wamu nammwe. I know challenges nyingi ziri mu business and sometimes ebintu ebyo we bituukawo it frustrates a lot. Amataba agasooka I think around last year people lost billions, ne wabeerawo committee eri eyogera ku nsonga za recovery of that money, but still floods now enkuba nyingi and they are persisting ate gayingidde still mu bizimbe, so we don't know what KCC is planning. Tetumanyi balowooza ki oba tubadde tulaba KCC ekola siltings emyala, tetumanyi oba kati emyala balina ogigaziya oba gina kukola gitya, but discussion tujja beera nayo again n'abantu ba KCC tulabe engeri gye bajja okumanaginga mu season eno ey'enkuba kubanga abantu baba very affected n'enkuba. Olunaku olwa I think ekiro ekikeeseza olunaku olwaleero embuya wabaddeyo omuliro ogwakutte essomero. Abantu b'embuya tuli wamu nammwe, then omukulembeze wammwe Luyomba Godfrey nayogeddeko naye ali wamu nammwe. Tusabe Mukama abakwaseko. Olunaku olwaleero tulina discussion gye twagala okwogerako. Nga Uganda tuli member state mu East African Community. East African Community eno etwala amawanga agali mu bwanjuba bwa Africa. I think that is East. And normally zino communities zibeeramu a lot of politics naye zibeeramu a lot of economies. We tujoininga communities zino tuganyulwamu when it comes to trade nti oba olina ebintu by'otunda osobola bitwala mu member states. Kati East African Community erimu Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Somalia recently yatujoininga, tulina ne South Sudan. That means economies zino zonna ez'amawanga zigatta wamu ne zituula ku table ne zikkaanya engeri community wena otambula in trade, in politics, in security. Twalina cooperation mu DRC eya East African force. Right now I think they withdrew the forces naye UPDF ekyaliyo DRC. Bino n'ebirala mu community bibeeramu. Recently omukulembeze wa Uganda His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni yatutte obwa chairman obwa East African Community and bulwaninga omwaka mulamba. Tulinda tulabe abadde at the forefront okwogera ensonga za East Africa, okwogera obumu mu East Africa, okwogera eddembe ly'obuntu mu East Africa. Ayogedde ku bintu bingi ebikwatagana n'ensonga za East Africa. Atero tugamba nti the community is us and we are the community, so tulina okubeera bumu ng'abantu ba East Africa. Nako olwaleero nina omugenyi mu studio. Mutunuzi w'ensonga is a policy analyst, is an economist, musajja ali mu bintu byenfuna, and above all he's an educationist, so he's grooming the next generation. Robinson, I'm happy to have you today.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a privilege being here. It's for the first time I am being in front of the camera, and most importantly to talk about things that I believe are very important for every Ugandan, for every East African, and generally you've talked about the businesses, how they get to be affected, and yeah, it's really important we have such discussions.
Let's start from the business perspective. We are in a rainy season. Normally farmers tend to be very excited when they see rain, but the people of Kampala are in tears every time they see rain. There is a development that has been along, I think, downtown, the trench. Yes, Nachivubo Channel. There was a development on it, and now we see arcades. But the people on that street are suffering with floods today because of the restructuring they made on that channel. Do you believe actually that restructuring was meant to be there, or it has not done any good?
I think we need to understand the intent of the people that are constructing on the channel. In developed worlds, you know, channels are never left to be open. Something always comes up to cover it up. But you also know how the construction of that structure came about, with a lot of stories, a lot of controversies running around. KCCA is saying something else. The president is writing a letter directing them to give access to the engineers to do their work. The first event when we had the floods last year and the traders ran to court, they postponed the hearing of the case and the construction had to continue. You know, so much going on.
It. But what's the impact on the economy? Because now we have people who are in the informal sector, and these people contribute to the economy of the country. What is the impact now to these kind of losses we see predominantly when it comes to the informal sector?
As I said before, that it's important for us to first understand the intent of harm, because I believe he's the one behind all this. Making the city better by constructing on a channel that we know is a main channel that takes away water from the city center to the Lake Victoria. He wants to cover it up, but also have an economic benefit out of covering that channel. The mistake, I think, came in from the engineers. I was reading a document that came from, someone wrote about it, that actually a KCC official came out and said the strides they are making in trying to solve the problem of floods in Kampala is working out, because the water came. After it stopped raining, it took some few minutes and the water had gone. Now that simply indicates that the channel still works, but the entry to the channel has been limited because the works hasn't yet ended. So until they finish that work and open more inlets that can take this water as they come off these arcades, fall onto the ground, instead of the water forcing themselves in one channel that is small, that cannot accommodate everything, we need to open some of these inlets. Moving on to the impact, you know, I would say in Kampala, if you come today, about a very good percentage of Kampala dwellers are people running businesses. They're opening shops, they're selling shoes, selling clothes, and all these businesses, and they live off that money on a daily basis. So if you have floods in such a community, you're affecting their livelihoods, because they live on a daily. Whatever they get from there is what they take home to their children. So automatically you're going to have people making losses. They have bought these goods. Most of them actually do import. Bring the goods here, and now they have nothing else to sell. On top of that, since the goods have been destroyed, money isn't coming in. They can't buy more.
Yes, true.
They can't support their families. Children are going back to school. We have people joining Form 5, and there is chaos everywhere. Then I rarely go to town. I actually hated to go to town until KCCA recently removed the vendors on the streets. I now see the town is a bit empty. I can freely go to town and walk in, but I used not to go there. Now, for someone who believes in people going to town, when you have floods, you won't have customers.
Yes.
You don't have customers, you don't have the money. So it's really a big problem. And I think, as you said, KCCA needs to listen to the cries of these traders. I told you someone takes in about 50 million shillings or 100 million shillings, and they put it all in there. Now, if they have lost everything, where do they start from? Some of them are living on loans. So they have made a cry to government that government should bail them out. And I really think if government can spare some money to give a group of...
That is actually going to be my next question. Do you really think that they're bailing them out as traders who lost? Because they're not bailing them out now, they're bailing them out of the impact they had in 2025, do you really think they're bailing them out? Because there are people who lost commodities in billions. Do you really think the bailout, when it comes, it will accommodate that level of loss they had?
First of all, I'm a believer that bailing them out won't solve the problem, because you'll give them the money and the floods will come tomorrow. What are you going to do? Are you going to take are you going to take government back to the drawing board again to give you more money? So I think KCCA should first look at solving the problem of the drainage itself. One, we need to, as I said, we need to open up more inlets into that channel. Secondly, we need to also open other channels so that we don't, as a city, we don't rely only on one channel to take away water. I also understand where KCCA is going to meet a challenge, that our urban planning, this morning I was looking at some people on X. Someone was talking about traffic. What KCCA has as a plan to deal with the traffic in Kampala. You can't necessarily deal with traffic in Kampala because already you failed planning your city. So you can't talk about widening roads. Now, we cannot talk about opening other drainage channels because we have buildings everywhere. It's because we don't have space, that's why HAM has to construct on a channel. So bailing the traders out, yes, it is something good. They get to recover what they have lost, but then it doesn't solve the problem. And if government is really to give them the money, it would be hard to probably assess the exact impact of the floods that happened last year. It will really be hard, because now, who was there to evaluate the impact of that? Floods. At the end of the day, we are going to find government losing money to people that are not supposed to receive it. But I'm a very big supporter in the idea that if government can give them a hand, they deserve it. They're the people holding this economy.
The rains are still coming. The season is for rain, and we believe the channel is still not going to be finished now. So do you really, from your perspective, do you really think that there is more to be done, or what is being done should continue being done until the channel is done?
There is still a long way to go on about this rain. But in the meantime, I believe, since the construction has already left that dangerous stage, let us open more inlets into that channel.
Has KCCA handled the issue appropriately, or it has more to do?
KCCA, I am in love with the, and I don't want you to misquote me, I'm in love with the work of the current executive director. She's really hands-on, and she's really getting to solve the problem. But I want her to open up her ears to listen to people. You know, you can have the best engineers around, but these engineers, you know, they understand things they're supposed to do, but the actual person that is down there needs to be heard. They're the people with the ideas, and they'll give them ideas on how to get this.
So they should do more of going out and informing people of what they are going to do for the city. What
they're going to do for the city, and actually do them. They are working so hard on making sure the roads are okay. The same thing they can do with the issue of the floods.
Okay. Now, when it comes to the issue of arcades, the KCCA has a plan of making sure that the last phase of the redevelopment of Kampala is having buildings that are up to standard for a city status. And when we look at the issue of drainage, we have seen, like in homes, where you can actually get that water and put it in tanks. We have seen some buildings in Kampala that have tanks on top. So they are looking at remodeling these buildings so they can have a way of maintaining the water that is on these buildings. Do you actually think that plan will come and actually solve some of these issues that are facing in Kampala?
I would ask that who is going to bear the cost of remodeling these buildings?
Landlords.
Are they willing to do it?
So it is on the wheel.
If these people cannot, if these arcades can go without electricity and they simply don't care, what really informs us that they would be willing to remodel the roofs of their buildings so they can harvest this water? Because when we harvest that water, we can have enough water around actually in Kampala to use for other things. But I don't think Ugandans have the will to do the right thing. For them, for as long as it gives them money, no one really cares about what else happens. in that place. And I believe this is an issue of mindset that we need to work on. Actually, KCCA needs to spend a lot of time teaching Ugandans how to live in their city.
So
because we behave like we don't actually like it. Yeah.
So if they are not willing, doesn't now that that conversation take us to enforcement, that it's a strict liability offense? If we find your building not up to standard, we are actually either breaking it down or closing it for business.
Well, these are the consequences of dealing with systems that have failed. Because one, if at all we were looking at our city being the model city that we want it to be, we are opening all these cities across the country, and all these cities should be learning from Kampala. But I think we're already late.
Yes.
Very few cities are really going to be up to standard. Yes, you can talk of enforcement, but still the same people. And this is where I really find a problem when it comes to enforcement in the country. I think our president is so good. He's so good to everyone that even when we have to make a structural change that will really impact us in the long run, if people run to him with another information, something else, he's going to listen to them and tell them, you know what, stop disturbing my people. And this is where we have actually gone wrong. I know from his perspective, every time he comes out to support some of these things, he's doing it as a parent. But then it creates a much bigger problem.
Okay.
That's why you see KCCA has grappled with the issue of the taxis, the borders. You don't want roadside vendors. Tomorrow, if the roadside vendors are serious and they want to meet the president and put out their cries, the president will listen to them. And an executive order will come, and the executive director has nothing to do.
Okay. So
I actually appreciate the idea that every time we have some of these things, the CDF comes out vocal about some of these things, and you really see things are being enforced. And if we want this city to work, if we want it to be better, we need to listen, and we need to understand where people are coming from. Yes, the arcade owners are going, the landlords are going to say, we have invested billions in these buildings.
Yes.
We need to make our money. I think this is where now everyone gets to come to the board and understand how best do we balance all these interests.
Okay.
But without that, even the enforcement is still going to fail. You've seen when KCCA, some years ago when KCCA enforcers could go to the streets and manhandle people.
Yes.
They have talked to these traders to leave the streets. They have done everything to make these people leave the streets. And then they have come out to also use force.
Yes.
Some of them have ended in court. So how do you enforce something to such a community?
Okay. As we close this conversation about KCCA and floods, you come from a region that has a city.
Yeah.
Now, when we look at the plan, because we are trying to diversify from Kampala and create other avenues where people can actually go and invest and recover the money as much as they would get in Kampala. So the Ministry of Local Government and the Parliament itself thought it nice to create cities and avenues of money-making places. Do you believe that the cities that have created other than Kampala are able to accumulate the same money as the capital city we have?
I think the creation of cities has been with one major intention of decongesting Kampala.
Yes.
And if you look at all these cities, they are becoming hubs for different businesses. You go to Fort Portal, you know Fort Portal is known for tourism. When you come to my city leader, I don't really know exactly what we are up for.
Right.
But Lira is strategically located that people from South Sudan can come to Lira. People from Acholi sub-region, leave alone Gulu. Kitgum, Pader still come to Lira to come and buy stuff, and because of its proximity to Mbale and going into Kenya, goods can easily come in. So I think with time, these cities are going to be able to attract these kind of investments. I go to Lira maybe after about 2 months or so, but if I go to my city today, it's completely changed constructions are coming in, and the leadership out there in the cities, I must say, they are very deliberate on how structures come up in the city.
Yes.
And you can see they're really planned. They're really planning their things. And in the near future, I believe, if the government has given us security as it is today, we're going to be able to attract these investors.
On that point, actually, I was having a discussion with one of the people who are into construction, and they were telling me the buildings that are in Kampala, you cannot go, even, they were giving me an example of Kasese, you cannot go to Kasese and build such buildings. People in the municipality in Kasese are very intentional on what structure comes on the streets. So when I hear about the intentionality of the leaders, I think we need to give it credit, because Kampala has lost face because of how the physical planning committee of the district itself and the city has laid loose on some of these issues. Okay, so now that means, to you, in your perspective, do you think those cities will do better in 10, 15 years from now?
Yeah, absolutely. They will do better, and we shall see Kampala losing credibility. Kampala will lose businesses. I think if I had a business in Lira, I would not be traveling to Kampala to come and buy things, because no one would want to come into this congestion.
Okay.
No one would want to come into a place that is covered in floods. You can't really get something new to put something to sell out to people.
Give me an assessment. Did giving Lira a city actually increase the revenue of the people around?
Absolutely, it has. Because, you know, giving a city status to Lira has organized people. Okay. Initially, the exchange of goods and services here and there was majorly for just the local people within Lira. But now, since it's become a city, it's a very serious business hub. If you had time to go there, it's a very serious business hub. And so people are opening up businesses. We are seeing local investors coming in and putting their money. If I wanted to start up a shop some years ago, I would think of running to Gulu. I would think of coming to Kampala to establish something. But now, Lira is becoming a hub. Every person who comes from Lira who has made some money in Kampala here thinks of going back to go and establish something there, and it's they're employing people, it's giving them money.
On that part, do you think actually we should now be having a conversation of diversification? People should actually leave the city center, because the city center is becoming complicated.
Yeah.
Leave alone weather, leave alone security, leave alone planning. Do you think that now it is time for Ugandans to diversify?
True.
Leave Kampala and invest in other cities?
And government should take lead in this. Some weeks ago, I was in Tanzania, and Tanzania has been very deliberate on this. Ministries are being scattered across the country to go, you know, government is constructing this in this place, constructing that, and slowly, people, if you work in that ministry, you have to now shift from the city center and go develop somewhere else. And if you take these services down to these communities, you're attracting investors to go and invest in these communities.
Okay,
I believe today, Mbarara is coming up, but with the new airport that is going to be constructed there, you're going to see businesses really coming up.
The Hoima is still also the same.
Hoima is coming up. Lira today, because of Akibwa Stadium, you give it 2 years, you're going to see what will be coming up.
Okay.
So it is time for government to also be deliberate in developing these regional cities they have created to decongest Kampala.
Okay.
Yeah.
So abatuulize abali eyo ndowooza ekintu ekyo nakyo mukirowoozeeko, tulabe nti weba Kampala eri congested, weba Kampala erimu ideas oba erimu avenues ezitali favorite, tugezeeko Masaka, tugezeeko Lira, tugezeeko Fort Portal, si nti Kampala tetugibaagalizza, but there is something we need to do a little bit better. This week I want to maintain my position of celebrating women and impact. Daily Monitor today, I think a Daily Monitor or New Vision, released the photo on the front page showing the leaders, the female leaders in government. And they were trying to give an impression. Yesterday I was with the Secretary of Female Affairs, and she was telling me 34% of members of parliament are women. And when you look at the government structures, the big positions, some of them are having ladies. The First Lady is a minister, the Prime Minister, when you look at the Speaker of Parliament, you can name it. The Minister of Gender herself is Betty Among is a lady. So when we're looking at the impact, of ladies on the development, because now even the Minister for East African Affairs, Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, the docket we're going to be discussing later on, is also a lady. So when we're looking at the impact of ladies on the social and economic development of the country, have we achieved the woman empowerment system?
I think I must applaud government for taking a bold move, that affirmative action that for every district we must have a female
Woman member of
parliament. It has not only increased visibility, but we have also had the best people in politics coming out of that opportunity given to them. And yes, I must say we have achieved as a country. By the time we are having a vice president, a lady, the Speaker of Parliament, a lady, the Prime Minister, the Principal Judge, a lady, you know, all these positions being taken up by ladies. And they are taking the positions not because they are ladies.
But they qualify.
They do qualify. Some of them went into competitions and came out successful.
Yeah.
I think the ground is being leveled. It is evident that the ground is being leveled. And to me, I must applaud President Museveni for doing this, and government for being deliberate on this. However, quite a number of them have still been left out. When you go to rural areas, you find majority of the people living in extreme poverty are women. Gender-based violence, yes, we might have a conversation that the men also do suffer, but most of the victims of gender-based violence are still women. You go to rural areas, access to education is still a problem for the women. And yes, we are having these few ones that are coming up, that have come out and really put up a very strong voice out there and taken up these positions. But I think still, I must say, we as Ugandans need to be deliberate on trying as much as we can to uplift the women out there. Because you as a man, you can easily come out and survive. A woman, if they're out there in the villages, they haven't gone to school. And remember, for every young girl that does not go to school, my mentor keeps saying that you're breeding poverty. She will be married at quite a tender age. She will produce a kid. He likes calling them producing poverty because you can't afford to take care of yourself. You're producing a child that you can't take care of. And it's so unfortunate that it is the men also going out and doing some of these things. But at times, some communities that do marry off children at a tender age do not have a choice. They simply, they are not exposed. They don't know the importance of taking these girls to school. So I think as much as we see these ladies, the women, now taking up these very critical leadership positions, so much needs to be done for the people in the rural areas. It is easier for us to go out there and get a female member of parliament, a woman member of parliament, come through and win an election, and then what happens to the rest of them? We are just seeing a very small fraction of them coming out.
You have been in the economic part of this country, the business part of this country. And yesterday I asked a question, and I want to ask to you, you now who has been in the economic sector.
Yes.
Now, when we look at these leadership roles, most of them are into the executive, judiciary, and their leadership. But we need to talk about the money economy. Have we actually achieved? Because when you're talking about poverty and associating it to ladies because they suffer the most, men can go out there and do something, and ladies will be treated a certain way, the stereotype kind of nature. When we are discussing the issue of economy and ladies in the sector of economy, bringing them to the economy sector, do you think government has done enough to bring these ladies?
I want to believe this is not necessarily work that government should be doing. The ladies that are, I think most of the businesses in Kampala here are owned by ladies.
Yes.
But let's not also lie to ourselves that in rural areas it would be the same story. I mean, when we are talking about the women, let's look at generally
bigger picture.
everyone else, what exactly? Not just a small fraction of the population. Yes, the women are really coming up. There are lots of opportunities that have come up, and the women are taking them up in terms of businesses. When you look at arcades today, you go downtown Kampala, it is packed with
by
women
ladies
doing something. Very few of them are really doing things that bring out that real money. Many of them are engaged in this
informal sector
informal sector. They are selling these small things. And so it would be very, very unfair for us to say, yes, they have actually achieved something in business. But I also have friends who are ladies and they own apartments in Kampala and they're really doing well. So I must say, yes, government has played a critical role in creating that atmosphere. Actually, the role of government is not necessarily to give people money. It is just to come out and create that environment in which businesses can be started, they're allowed to grow, and every other thing comes out of that. So I believe government has given us that opportunity. But we are seeing women in the urban centers taking them up. But what happens to the rural areas?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Now, we have a discussion today about the East African community, and we want to dive into the economic part, the political part, and we want to dive into the social accountability part. So we have an East African community that has been at the helm of East Africa needs a joint voice. East Africa needs a joint system. We have been looking at issues of tensions in Tanzania. They had elections, and we didn't see the East African community come out vividly to say that this election is this and that. We have recently had an election here, and we had observers from the East African community. We have observers from the African Union. Maybe one day we shall discuss African Union, but today let's look at our region. Now, in East Africa, you teach in a business school. So we want to look at the economic part. Recently, I think 2 days ago, the president of this country took on the chairmanship for the East African community, which lasts for a year. He has been vocal and at the forefront of making sure that the East African community is functional both in the economic part and in the social part. Politically, there may not be no will of making sure we have one president, all those things. But he has been focusing more on trade. We have had issues with Kenya. There was a time our milk was not going to Kenya. There was a time we're having issues of sugarcane. There was a time we're having issues of maize. Do you actually believe that now that His Excellency, the President of Uganda, has taken charge as the chairperson of the East African community, we are going to see a change in our trade relations with our partners?
I'm so skeptical on what we can achieve as a country now that we've taken charge of the chairmanship of the EAC. There is really nothing much we should expect from that from this opportunity. It's just like I think last year we took the chairmanship of NAM.
Yes.
And you could hear, when you move around, you could hear people asking themselves, how do we benefit from the NAM?
Yeah.
What exactly do we get out of this? But the EAC has been in existence for quite some time. And yes, we've been talking about the economic integration, the social integration, all these other things that we want to achieve as a community. But I'm scared that we might not reach there as soon as possible, even if we have taken lead right now with President Museveni as a chairperson. He has been at the center of this.
Yes.
I think he's the only one among the East African leaders that has seen this grow.
Yes.
He has seen everything turn out.
He has a photo he always loves portraying. There is a newspaper he loves. Yes.
He moves with it everywhere. I think he has a better picture of what this community should achieve. But I'm afraid, due to the differences that we have, we might not achieve much.
Doesn't this term, this one-year term, actually give him a chance to bring to life the ideas he has always had? Because Kenya was the one heading the community, and we saw the challenges Ruto had in that last year we had the riots in Kenya. We had our Minister for Trade actually had to go to Kenya to discuss issues. We even saw Honorable Frank Tumwebaza, he had to go to Kenya to discuss issues of milk. Now that the old man of the region, the man who has a vision of how the East African community should look like, do you think this 1 year he would actually sit down with the heads of state to discuss issues of trade policy that can take the region forward?
There is nothing new they're going to discuss that they haven't discussed even when he was just a member.
Okay.
All these trade issues do come in. Yes, we talk about, you know, having cross-border trade without these tariffs for members of the East African community, but I mean, that's a very big source of revenue for each of these member states. And so when you say we lift all these trade barriers in terms of tariffs, what alternative do we have?
Maybe if we shift a little bit. China was lifting off trade barriers of the 53 countries that are in Africa. So it was lifting off the trade tariffs that it had on the 53 countries. Now, if you're saying that the tariffs that we have are the only way of getting money, don't we kill the vision, the Jumia we have?
It's one of the challenges that we are grappling with as the community. China can do that because, I mean, who are they going to run to borrow to run the economy? They have the money. Uganda, you know what contribution we make to our GDP every year.
Yes.
Very little. We cannot literally finance our own budget to a certain good percentage. And therefore, if you again go ahead, you see the Uganda Revenue Authority doing everything to open up, you know, more ways of getting money. They collect from people, and then you're talking about lifting some of these tariffs and making sure you open cross-border trade and let it be free.
Okay. I
mean, we are biting our own fingers.
I was listening to Dennis Namara, one of our MPs in the East African Legislative Assembly, and he was saying the member countries of the East African community pay a tune of $7 million as a contribution to the East African community to run and to make sure that its activities are done. Now, when he was saying it is only Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, and I think partially Rwanda that have paid. We have DRC, we have Burundi, we have South Sudan, we have Ethiopia, who have actually not paid the $7 million for the functionality of the Secretariat of the East African Community. Do you think we have the will, political will, because now presidents, these are presidents, do we have the political will to sustain the East African community?
Calvin, let me ask you, if you're supposed to pay money to be part of a family, yes, you want it to function. But when you look at the benefits, what you're paying for, it might not make a lot of economic sense to some of these countries. I mean, what does Congo have to sell to the East African community?
Maybe let me list some of the things that the East African community has done. Number one, you have the forces, the East African forces that are in Rwanda, and they were chased out. There is peace in South Sudan because the UPDF is there. There is peace in Somalia because we are there as the UPDF. In Kenya,
who is funding some of these missions?
Some of these missions are UN funded, or AU, African Union, but still with the funding of UN. But when you look at the East African Force, it was fully funded by the East African community and partner organizations. So I would think we gain more from having a community that is united and is looking at one dream than actually lagging behind on certain issues.
True, I completely agree. Congo benefits from the East African community because now we are there trying to
bring peace in
Eastern Congo. But beyond bringing the peace, yes, after the peace is established, we know businesses will have to run and the money will come.
Yes.
But we have more things we're supposed to export to Congo than what they can actually export to some of these countries in the East African community. So if you see some of them not really paying what they're supposed to pay to be part of this, then I think as East African community, we must give them a reason why they should be making these payments.
I want us to look at the trade Uganda has in the East African community. When you look at the figures, within 2024-2025, we have total to 631 million US dollars when it comes to Uganda, but our biggest partner in the East African community is DRC. And
we are the ones selling to them.
Yes, we are selling to them. We are in the export to DRC, and we are taking there mostly agricultural produce, coffee, tea, fish, and agricultural produce. Do you actually think that what we are sending to these partner states is what we should be trading in as a country, the exports?
You know, if we are exporting agricultural produce to Congo, I would say yes. We have the capacity to produce and feed the entire region.
Yes.
Literally. But whatever we are taking out there, what do we exactly get in return? It is the money only. What is Congo giving to us?
Finances.
Finances. They're only buying the food that we are supposed to sell. So I believe that we can actually do much more business in the East African community if at all we are also very intentional in trying to make sure everyone benefits in the chain.
I have seen the country try to broker deals with Egypt, Morocco, Serbia on issues of milk, issues of coffee. Is the market in the East African region not enough to sustain the goods we produce as a country?
The markets are enough, but as I told you, our differences will not allow us get to achieve some of the visions, the objectives, the intentions of us coming together.
You as an economist, give us a way forward on how we can actually do better as an East African community.
I think we first of all need to develop capacity of our people in the community, and also get to a point where some of these countries get to specialize on producing what actually they can produce best, and leave the rest to be done by other people. Because the main reason why we were not exporting maize to Kenya the other time, they just used the issues of aflatoxin as a scapegoat. But the issue is, if I'm producing maize and you're producing maize, then why should I buy from you?
Now, that's where actually I want to ask. In Tanzania, there is rice. And Uganda, most of the rice comes from Tanzania. Now, we also have rice sellers in Uganda who are asking themselves, if you're getting rice from Tanzania, where is my rice coming from Mbale going?
Now, that is the question that we need to answer as a community. Because until we get to start doing something that we have that competitive advantage of, we are not going to achieve this.
So if you're still producing the same products as a region?
If you're producing the same product in the region, today it looks like for us as Uganda, we're producing more milk than any other country in the region. Therefore, we can easily go out to negotiate the terms and the price of the milk with our partner countries. But if, imagine a situation where every country in East African community is producing the same thing, it becomes really irrelevant for them to do that. So I think we need to capitalize on what gives us a competitive advantage. What are we good at?
Do we need to get out of the agricultural products and sell value-added products? Let's say if we're selling milk, let's it be powdered milk rather than the raw milk itself.
Well, adding value is not a problem. When you add value, you're now trying to compete with countries that export some of these products to our member states in the East African community. Because whatever you're producing here is being, in terms of maize, Brazil is producing the same maize, and the companies, American companies producing this maize in Brazil want to sell this to Kenya. And so adding value to it is trying to beat out the competition that comes from external partners in the East African community. So I would say we need to add value to beat up the competition. Because, Calvin, when you go to the supermarket tomorrow and you see a Ugandan product that is raw and there is an American product that has value, you'll automatically go for
the American product. Now, let's talk about the biggest issue we face as youth, unemployment. Now, when we look at this employment issue, we had a plan that the people in the East African region can cross border to work. Now, for us as lawyers, we are facing challenges that we need. There was a case in the High Court where the students in Rwanda could not practice in Uganda. We're having those challenges here and there, but there was an initial plan that we could have cross-border employment, that a Ugandan can go to Kenya and work, a Tanzanian can come, Rwanda you can go and work. Do you actually believe that when this East African community gets to the point where we can have cross-border employment, it will be good for the region?
Yeah, it will really help the region so much. However, it will bring the question of what capacity do you have to exchange the human resource? Have you invested enough in educating your community in that when they cross the border, they can go out there and become outstanding? It will bring a lot of questions as well, but I think it is important that there are certain opportunities in other countries within the East African community that need to be exploited. And you see a Ugandan who can go outside there and really do business. I told you I was recently in Tanzania, and I've seen many Ugandans in Tanzania doing businesses. And to me, I really feel it would open up the entire region for everyone who has a qualification, who has a capacity to do something, to go outside there and at least really get a job. So it will reduce the pressure that we have in our country in terms of unemployment. But that is a problem that we grapple with as a region entirely.
For the last, I think, from 1960s, we have had an East African community. Do you believe, as a Ugandan, that the East African community has impacted the region itself, and do its values and standings, do they prove to see that we have a better East African region?
Absolutely true. It has a lot that it has in promise that we believe we are going to benefit from it. Talk about the standard gauge railway that is coming in. And I was listening to President Ruto the other day when he was giving a report. He's talking about the construction of the road from Nairobi to Kampala that reduces the travel time to 4 hours from 14. Beautiful. You know how many Ugandans go to Nairobi to go and bring, people go to Mombasa to go and bring the goods. We do some importation of products that we normally bring and dock in Tanzania, in Kenya. And we take nearly 2 weeks to clear these goods at the border. So if we have proper road networks that government, together with the East African community, is working on ensuring that we have, we shall have better business coming in.
Okay.
Talk of government constructing this road into DRC.
Oh,
we have a lot of products going in there.
Okay.
The oil pipeline going through from Bulisa going to Tanzania.
Yeah. Okay. Abadde batulaba ku DreamTV, ku Doxa TV, n'abadde batubuuza ku Impact FM. Tubadde tutunuulira organisation etwala amawanga agali mu buvanjuba bwa Africa, East African Community, n'engeri gye impactinga ffe nga bannayuganda oba n'abantu ababeera mu region. Tugenze okulaba nti ebintu ebimu bijja tugasa naye nga ebbanga liyinza okutwalako akaseera. Musule bulungi, mweraba.